The Seed of the Sacred Fig is a political drama film directed by Mohammad Rasulov. It's filmed with some footage from the riots that happened in 2022 to 2023 in Iran after some civil unrest. So they use some of that, and the movie sort of takes that as inspiration and crafts a fictional story about one dysfunctional family trying to survive in a totalitarian regime. Didn't really know much about this film. I knew it was nominated for an Oscar. I wanted to check it out. I was playing at the Art House Theater. This one is about Iman. He gets a promotion at work, not to be a judge yet, but to be an investigator. So he essentially has to keep his job secret, and his wife is very worried because they'll be getting a promotion and stuff, and they'll be getting a nicer house and perks, but they're also basically in charge of death warrants and death certificates. So he's basically an executioner. And on his first day, he's told to just blindly accept them no matter what and don't read through the volumes and give fair judgment. So they're already trying to control him, and he's at a moral crossroads. However, there's a huge toll on his mental health and his moral stance, and his wife isn't very supportive. Meanwhile, he's got two daughters, Rezvad and Sana. They are younger. One of them's 21, one of them's a teenager, and they're sort of a newer generation. They don't really drink the Kool-Aid, so they're sort of into the whole riots and chanting and the protests that are happening slowly as the film goes out. The movie has some pretty slow pacing. The person sitting near me, she kept pulling out her phone. I told her to knock it off. But you know, the first half of the movie is a little bit slow. It's more of a slice of life drama showcasing what the family is transitioning to. The dad, you don't know what he does for work at the beginning, but then you slowly find out what it's doing to him and how far into the regime he is. And his wife is very supportive too. And the daughters are sort of clashing with him. There's some subplots to sort of fill it out and give you a sort of some backbone, a skeletal structure, so you can see how different that country is from our own. And then there's a betrayal within the family that sort of spurs on the main conflict of the second half. So this film is pretty harrowing in the second half. It turns into a straight up thriller as something happens to the family, and they have to go to their childhood home to sort of hide out, and then there's some paranoia with things going on because the family gets doxxed, basically. And the only thing that I didn't like about this movie is the ending. The ending of the film is pretty convenient. I didn't like it. It kind of felt like the suspense and the tension was bubbling throughout, being maintained at a low simmer. Instead of having a satisfying ending, the movie just sort of fizzles out, and I really didn't like that. But the acting and the narrative is really good. I like the music choices. It's very loud and obtrusive. It's supposed to be. Great character development. I really like the pitch black humor that's sort of introduced throughout here and there to sort of keep you on your toes. There's some really harrowing moments too, especially in the first half with something that happens to Rezvad's friend. So this movie definitely is harrowing. It's definitely not an easy watch, but it's definitely the father becomes a metaphor for the regime essentially, and they have to sort of go up against him, and he becomes a personification of the state. And really, I got it. I got the message. The movie, doesn't hide it too, and it doesn't try to shove it in your face either. But overall, The Seed of the Sacred Fig is a really interesting movie, and I'm guessing the title is also a part of it because they're basically saying that, like, the father, Iman, he basically was the host tree, and the state is the fig, and it eventually corrupted him of sorts, and that's sort of where the title comes from. So The Seed of the Sacred Fig is a pretty solid film, and I give it a 7 out of 10.